Welcome, everyone. Imagine you are standing in a desert. The sky above you is enormous. The stars are so clear, so close, that it feels as though you could reach up and touch them. The air is still. The world is silent. And somewhere in this darkness, in a cave on a mountain, a man is sitting alone. He is 40 years old. He is known in his city as an honest man, a trustworthy man, a man who thinks deeply about the world and asks questions that no one around him seems to ask. Tonight, everything will change. Not just for him, not just for his city, but for the entire world. Most people who have heard of Islam know only fragments of its story. They know the name. They know the symbol of the crescent and the star. They may know that it has more than 1.5 billion followers. But the story, the full, human, extraordinary story of how a message spoken in an Arabian desert became one of the most powerful forces in the history of civilization, that story is rarely told with the depth it deserves. Today, we tell it, from the very beginning, with honesty, with care, and with wonder. Please stay until the very end, because this is not just a history lesson. It is the story of a people, a faith, and a set of ideas that shaped and still shape the world we all live in. This story will move through 8 chapters. We will begin in the Arabian Peninsula, in the world before Islam. We will follow the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from his childhood in Mecca to the night the first revelation came. We will walk beside the first Muslims, small, outnumbered, persecuted, as they held on to their belief in a world that wanted to destroy it. We will travel with them on the Great Migration. We will witness the rise of a community, the birth of an empire, and the golden age of Islamic civilization, when Muslim scholars preserved and expanded the knowledge of the ancient world, while Europe lived in its darkest centuries. And we will arrive in the present, to a faith that is both ancient and alive, practiced by people in every country on earth, in every language, in every culture, all turning toward the same direction to pray. And if you care about understanding the world more deeply, about learning beautiful, clear English through real human stories, subscribe to our channel right now, because we bring you the most thoughtful, most meaningful English storytelling in the world. Now, let us begin. Chapter 1. The World Before. To understand any story, you must first understand the world the story was born into. It is the 6th century of the Common Era. The Arabian Peninsula is a land of contradictions. It is vast, hot, and largely empty, mostly desert, broken by scattered oases, rocky mountains, and the ancient city of Mecca, nestled in a valley between the hills of the Hijaz. Mecca is already old, already important. At its center stands a cube-shaped stone structure called the Kaaba. The Arab tribes regard it as a sacred place, a site of pilgrimage, of prayer, of commerce. Around it, they have placed hundreds of idols, statues and images of gods and goddesses that different tribes worship in different ways. Arabian society at this time is tribal. Loyalty is to the clan, to blood.
There is no single government, no unifying law. There are raids and battles between tribes. There is deep inequality. Some are wealthy merchants, many are desperately poor. Slaves are bought and sold. Women have few rights. Infant girls are sometimes buried alive by families who consider them a shame or a burden. And yet, this world is not without beauty. The Arabs of this era are extraordinary poets. They have no equal in the ancient world when it comes to language. Words in their culture carry enormous power and prestige. A great poem can end a war. A terrible insult can start one. Two great empires surround this desert world. To the north, the Byzantine Empire, Christian, powerful, old. To the east, the Sasanian Empire of Persia, Zoroastrian, ancient, proud. Both have been at war with each other for so long that their strength is beginning to crack. And into this world, between these empires, inside this tribal, poetic, restless desert culture, a child is born. In the city of Mecca, in the year 570 of the Common Era. His name is Muhammad.
Chapter 2. The Prophet's Life. Muhammad is born into the Quraysh tribe, the most respected clan in Mecca, custodians of the Kaaba. But he is born into hardship. His father, Abdullah, dies before Muhammad is born. His mother, Amina, dies when he is only 6 years old. He is raised first by his grandfather, Abd al-Muttalib, a man of great dignity and wisdom, and then, after his grandfather's death, by his uncle, Abu Talib. Muhammad grows up poor. He works as a shepherd as a young boy, a humble beginning he will later describe with pride. He travels with trade caravans. He observes the world, people, cultures, faiths, injustices. He is curious. He is quiet. He listens more than he speaks. By the time he is a young man, he has earned a remarkable reputation in Mecca. The people give him a name, Al-Amin, the trustworthy. He is known for settling disputes fairly, for returning what is entrusted to him, for treating the poor and the weak with dignity. He marries a remarkable woman, Khadija. She is a successful, respected merchant, 15 years older than Muhammad. She is the one who first employs him. She is the one who proposes marriage to him. And she will be, for the rest of her life, his most devoted companion, his greatest support, his first and most beloved wife. For years, Muhammad lives a good life, a blessed life, but something inside him is restless. He watches the inequality of Mecca, the idols, the injustice. He feels that something is deeply wrong with the world, and that there must be something truer, something deeper than the tribal gods and tribal violence around him. He begins retreating to a cave on a mountain near Mecca, a cave called Hira, to think, to reflect, to be alone in the silence. He is 40 years old, and it is in this cave, in the month of Ramadan, in the year 610 of the Common Era, that everything changes.
Chapter 3. The First Revelation. He is alone in the cave of Hira. The night is dark. The mountain is still. And then something comes. A presence, a weight, a command. A single word. Iqra. Read. Muhammad is terrified. He cannot breathe. He tries to say, I cannot read. I do not know how to read. But the word comes again and again. And then more words, Beautiful words, words unlike anything he has ever heard. A revelation, the very first verses of what will become the holy book of Islam, the Quran. Muhammad runs from the cave trembling. He races home to Khadija. He says, "Cover me, cover me." She wraps him in a cloth. And when the trembling passes, he tells her everything. He is afraid. He wonders if he has lost his mind. He wonders if something dark has touched him. But Khadija does not doubt him, not for a single moment. She says words that have echoed across 14 centuries. By God, he will never humiliate you. You care for your relatives. You help the poor. You serve your guests. You aid the victims of injustice. God would never leave a man like you alone. Khadija is the first Muslim, the first person to believe, a woman. The revelations continue, month after month, year after year. The message is clear and radical. There is only one God, Allah. All human beings are equal before Him. The poor must be cared for. The weak must be protected. The idols must be abandoned. Justice, not tribal loyalty, is the highest law. In a society built on tribal power and idol worship, this message is not merely religious, it is revolutionary. We are moving through one of the most extraordinary stories in all of human history. And I hope wherever you are right now, this story is opening something in you. If it is, please take 1 second to like this video and leave a comment below. What surprised you most so far? I read every comment, and your words tell me what to bring you next. Now, the story continues, and the next chapters take us through persecution, migration, and the building of something the world had never seen before. Chapter 4: Persecution and Resistance. The first Muslims are few. Khadija, Ali, Muhammad's young cousin, Abu Bakr, a respected merchant and a close friend, a handful of others, most of them young, many of them poor, many of them slaves or former slaves. And Mecca does not welcome this new message. The Quraysh leadership sees Islam as a threat, not just a spiritual one, a financial and political one. The Kaaba and its hundreds of idols bring pilgrims and traders to Mecca. The city's wealth depends on the old religious order. So they fight back. The early Muslims are mocked, insulted, boycotted. Some are tortured openly in the street. Bilal, a black slave from Abyssinia who becomes one of the first Muslims, is dragged out into the desert sun and a heavy stone placed on his chest. They tell him, "Deny your God, and you will be free." He says one word again and again through his pain. Ahad, Ahad, one. One. He does not break. Abu Bakr buys Bilal's freedom. He will later become Islam's first muezzin, the man who calls the faithful to prayer. His voice will echo across the centuries. The persecution grows worse. Muhammad sends some of his followers to Abyssinia, to the Christian king Ashama ibn Abjar, who he trusts to be just. The king listens to the Muslim refugees. He hears them recite verses about Maryam, Mary, mother of Jesus. He is moved. He refuses to hand them back. He gives them sanctuary. A Muslim community survives in Africa while the community in Arabia endures. For 13 years, the Muslims in Mecca hold on. They are outnumbered, they are pressured, they are sometimes killed. But the message does not die.
Because you cannot silence a truth that people have heard in their hearts.
Chapter 5. The Hijra. In the year 622 of the Common Era, the year that will become year 1 of the Islamic calendar, Muhammad receives a message from the people of a city called Yathrib to the north. They have heard of his teachings. They invite him to come, to lead them, to be their mediator and their guide. The Quraysh of Mecca plan to assassinate Muhammad before he can leave. Representatives from every major clan are to strike simultaneously so that no single tribe bears the blood guilt. But the plan is discovered. Muhammad and his closest companion, Abu Bakr, slip out of Mecca in the night. They hide for 3 days in a cave called Thawr. Their pursuers come close, so close that Abu Bakr whispers, "If any of them looks down, they will see us." Muhammad answers with absolute calm, "What do you think of 2 when God is the 3rd?" They reach Yathrib safely. The city erupts in celebration. Children run into the streets. People climb onto rooftops to catch a first glimpse. Yathrib is renamed. It becomes Madinat al-Nabi, the city of the Prophet, Medina. Here, Muhammad does something extraordinary. He does not merely establish a religion, he establishes a community, a society. He writes what historians call the Constitution of Medina, perhaps the world's first written social contract outlining the rights and responsibilities of every group in the city, Muslims, Jews, and other tribes, all citizens, all protected. The community grows, and the world begins to watch. Chapter 6. The Return and the Message's Completion. 8 years after the Hijra, in the year 630, Muhammad returns to Mecca. He comes not as a conqueror seeking revenge. He comes at the head of an army of 10,000, but the city falls without significant bloodshed. The people who tortured his followers, the people who drove him out, the people who killed those he loved. He stands before them, and he says, "What do you think I will do with you?" They say, "We hope for good. You are a noble brother, son of a noble brother." And he says, "I say to you what Joseph said to his brothers. There is no blame on you today. Go, you are free." The Kaaba is cleared of its idols, not a temple of one tribe's gods, but a house of the one God, as it was, they believed, in the time of Abraham. 2 years later, Muhammad stands on a plain outside Mecca to deliver what will become known as the farewell sermon. More than 100,000 people are gathered. He speaks of equality. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab. A white person has no superiority over a black person, nor a black over a white, except by piety and good deeds. He speaks of the sanctity of life, of property, of women's rights. He asks his followers to treat each other well, to carry this message to those who are not present. Then he asks, "Have I conveyed the message?" 100,000 voices answer, "Yes." He raises his finger to the sky. "O God, be my witness." 3 months later, Muhammad, peace be upon him, passes from this world. He is 63 years old. The community he leaves behind is transformed, united, and alive. The message and the history is only just beginning.
Chapter 7. The Golden Age. After the Prophet's death, the Muslim community, the Ummah, spreads with extraordinary speed. Within 100 years, the Islamic world stretches from the Atlantic coast of Spain in the west to the borders of China and India in the east.
not only through conquest, but through trade, through scholarship, through the appeal of a message that said, every human being, regardless of origin or color, is equal before God. The Abbasid Caliphate, centered in Baghdad, becomes one of the most sophisticated civilizations on earth. The Caliph Harun al-Rashid builds the House of Wisdom, Bait al-Hikmah, in Baghdad. Scholars are brought from across the known world, Arab, Persian, Greek, Indian, Jewish, Christian, to translate, to preserve, to expand human knowledge. Muslim scholars translate and save the works of Aristotle, Plato, and Euclid, works that might otherwise have been lost forever while Europe's libraries burned. Ibn Sina, known in the West as Avicenna, writes the Canon of Medicine, a text that will be used in European universities for 600 years. Al-Khwarizmi invents algebra. The word algebra comes directly from the title of his book, Al-Kitab al-Mukhtasar fi Hisab al-Jabr. The word algorithm, the foundation of all modern computing, comes from the Latin version of his own name. Al-Biruni calculates the circumference of the Earth with extraordinary accuracy in the 11th century. Muslim astronomers name most of the visible stars. Even today, in the night sky above us, the names Aldebaran, Betelgeuse, Rigel, Deneb, all Arabic names, still carry the light of that age. This is the Islamic Golden Age, a time when the Muslim world was the most educated, most scientifically advanced, most culturally rich civilization on the planet. It is a chapter of history that the world owes more to than it often acknowledges.
Chapter 8. Islam Today. 14 centuries have passed since a man named Muhammad sat alone in a cave on a mountain in Arabia. The world he lived in is gone. The empires that surrounded him, Byzantine and Sasanian, are long since history. But the faith that began in that cave is more alive today than at any point in its history. More than 1.5 billion people on earth call themselves Muslim. They live in Indonesia, in Turkey, in Nigeria, in Pakistan, in Morocco, in Malaysia, in Bosnia, in the United States, in the UK, in China, in Brazil, in every country, on every continent, in every culture. 5 times a day, at dawn, at midday, in the afternoon, at sunset, and at night, more than 1 billion people pause whatever they are doing. They face the direction of Mecca, and they pray. In a world of extraordinary difference, of different languages, different histories, different faces, they all turn in the same direction. Islam is not only a religion of ritual, it is a complete way of life, a worldview, a framework for how to treat other people, how to handle wealth and poverty, how to seek knowledge, how to be just, how to remember every single day that this life is temporary, and that what we do inside it matters more than anything we accumulate. Its central text, the Quran, is the most memorized book in all of human history. Millions of people carry its entire contents inside them, not written on paper, written in the heart. And the first word of that book, the first word ever revealed to the Prophet Muhammad on a dark night in a cave on a mountain, was Iqra.
Read. Learn. Seek knowledge. Never stop asking. 14 centuries later, in a video made for English learners all over the world, that first word still echoes.
You have just completed one of the most sweeping, most human, most honest journeys through Islamic history ever created for an English learning audience. You didn't just hear a list of dates and events. You heard a story. The story of an orphan boy in a desert city who grew up to carry a message that would reshape civilization. The story of people who were tortured for believing and did not stop. The story of a migration that became a calendar. A sermon that became a charter of human rights. A community of scholars who lit the world when much of the world was dark. And the story of more than 1 billion people alive today who find in this ancient message something still urgent, still meaningful, still worth turning toward 5 times a day. If this story moved you, even a little, please subscribe to our channel right now. We are building a community of English learners who believe that the most valuable stories are the ones that open our understanding of the world and of each other. Save this video. Share it with someone who wants to understand. Use each chapter like a chapter in a book. Return to the one that spoke to you most. Remember, history is not about the past. It is about understanding the present, the world we share, the stories that made it, and the common humanity that connects us across every difference.
Read. Seek. Listen. Learn the stories of people different from yourself. Find the humanity in every history. Let knowledge open you, not close you. And most of all, remember that every great story begins with a single person willing to listen in the silence. Thank you for listening. Let's grow together.